Hello and welcome to Daybreak Extra on Trust TV this beautiful Saturday morning. We're here to kick off the show and make sure that your weekend is absolutely fantastic. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Welcome to the show. And of course, I have my able partner right here with me.
Good morning and welcome. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dasha Husseina and this is Daybreak Extra on Trust TV. Well, on Daybreak, we have so many interesting, topics to discuss. We have so many topics to discuss, especially on newspaper review, this very morning. And this Saturday morning, we'll be talking about party politics. First, that's the first of its kind on Daybreak Extra, but it's going to be on a lighter note, but then still party politics and also sports, even as Nigerian University games kicked off today at the University of Lagos, plus entertainment as well. So we'll take a look at the papers, review the papers and analysis of top headlines as well. But before we do that, let's take a quick break.
This is Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back. And as we've seen, today is actually International Read to Me Day. There are lots of significance and importance when it comes to someone reading to you. And this is the reason why instead of waiting for someone to read to you, since everybody is busy these days, you actually have audiobooks where rather than read yourself, a lot of people actually read. And, most of this importance, has to do with children while they're growing up. You read bedtime stories to them. You read a lot to children, and it helps them, assimilate better, because while you're reading, you're explaining to them. So today, as International Read to Me Day, it's celebrated all over the world, just to boost or boost the importance of reading to people.
Yeah, we do. We've always had this discussion before about talking about our reading culture not being what it used to be. We're losing touch.
That's when you read for yourself.
Exactly. So you have to read for yourself first before you can be able to read for somebody else. You understand? So most especially now with the internet and everything, books are really going out of fashion. Though we do have e-books and all that, but still our reading culture is not what it used to be, and people just it's easy for you to watch television, or stream videos on your phone or on your tablet.
I think one thing about television is it actually helps you relax.
Well, that's the thing, it takes there's less effort. You understand when you watch television. So, but it's very good when you try to encourage that reading culture. When you read to children, just like you said, it boosts their intellectual capacity and helps them grasp things easier.
Yeah, but do you think there should be more audiobooks, not ebooks, audiobooks?
Yes.
Because I know of a lot of people who actually, play audiobooks in their cars, and while they're driving, it's like they're reading books. The book is reading to them.
Being read to them.
Yes,
yes, exactly. There's this calming or relaxing feeling you get when something is being read to you. You can actually relax, assimilate what's being said, and you let your imagination fill in the blanks for you. So I think yes, audiobooks.
Assimilation. When it comes to assimilation, how when you're listening, because you're listening.
Yes.
When you're listening to an audiobook, do you assimilate better than reading yourself?
Yeah, well, the only thing about reading yourself, maybe that might help assimilation, is you can easily
actually pause
you can
and then
pause,
think,
yeah, and reflect. You
imagine.
understand?
Okay.
But still, with the audiobooks,
You
it's the
can
same
actually
thing. You
pause
can
as
pause
well.
it. Yes, you can pause it, rewind if you want, and all that. So I think it's actually easier and more relaxing when you listen to someone reading to you than you reading yourself.
Well said. All right, we'll take a quick breather, and when we come back in just a minute, it will be time for the newspaper review. Stay tuned.
But in a situation where you find that a person look at the same,
not necessarily tribal or regional.
but I have said that.
All right, welcome back. We'll start by taking stories from Daily Trust Saturday. And, well, we have so many leads today. And we'll start with the one at the top, talking about the Electoral Act and respite for Malami, Amechi, others, as court nullifies contentious clause. Court has powers to expunge clause, says lawyers, and INEC Senate reps react. And you can find details of that story on page 4. There's an investigative piece here on how Juth denies Hausa Fulani treatment for claiming Plateau State. That's a Jos University Teaching Hospital. And we have writers that say record officers compel new patients to change state of origin to register or see doctors. And also hospital, Plateau government debunk claims. But you can find details of that story on page 5. And then we have yet another story that says Nigerians pay through the nose as health insurance wobbles on page 6 and 7. And a feature here, a day with Abuja scavengers. Talking about village hardship pushed us out of school to the FCT, and that is attributed to the scavengers, and it's on page 26. We also have coast clear for APC, court vacates order stopping national convention, and why I gave Obiano's wife a dirty slap by Bianca Ojukwu. She released a statement yesterday explaining what happened. And then on entertainment, meet Kannywood stars that started as kid actors. And details of that on page 13. These are some of the stories on Daily Trust newspaper today.
Next, we take a look at This Day newspaper this morning. So we start from the top of the page. Oka monarch Ebelechukwu Obiano has desecrated kingdom by fighting Bianca, says serious consequences loom. And there's a rider here, Bianca, stunned by the stench of whiskey on Obiano's wife's breath. That is a headline on the front page of This Day newspaper. Buhari back in Abuja after 2-week medicals in London. Well, the full story is on page 16 of This Day. The major headline on the front page of This Day, game on. Court vacates order stopping APC's convention. And Buni, secretary at party's HQ, continue preparations along line of scheduled activities. That is the major headline on the front page of This Day. Malawi celebrates as court annuls section of Electoral Act barring political appointees. It says federal government will immediately give effect to the judgment by gazetting it. And that's another political story on the front page of This Day. At the bottom of the front page, a story, EFCC moves Obiano to Abuja, queries him on alleged 42 billion naira fraud. That complete story can be found on page 5 of This Day newspaper.
All right, now I'll move on to Saturday Tribune next. And we have the top story on the page, Saturday Tribune, that's I gave Obiano's wife dirty slap to stop her from attacking me, says Bianca Ojukwu. And then we have I'll stand with the vulnerable till the end by Mrs. Oyinlola. She turns 70 today. And then the lead here talks about national chairmanship, APC's consensus plan crumbles. And we have writers that says ACN, CPC groups intensify battles of wits. Akbondo Dedehe remains party secretary. Omisore submits form for national secretary. And we also have NYSC to prosecute graduates who evade national service on page 6. 3 suspected kidnappers killed in Delta, still on page 6. And then Electoral Act. Court voids law barring appointees from voting, contesting at Congress's conventions. Judge fell into great error, says Falana, and will gazette Electoral Act without Section 84, subsection 12, says AGF. We also have one more story on entertainment saying having a baby at 56 can be very draining, and that is attributed to an actor, Jude Chukwuka, on page 13. These are some of the stories on Saturday Tribune.
Next, we move on to the Nation newspaper, which has the headline on the top of the masthead: reprieve for Malami Amechi others as court avoids Section 84, subsection 12 of Electoral Act. FG will give effect to judgment, says Malami, and another rider. Reps, our intentions were noble. Senate unaware of court ruling, says spokesman. Details of that story are on page 5 of the Nation newspaper. The major headline on the front page of the Nation still talks politics. APC chairman Almakura Musa Akume Mustafa vowed to fight on. Adamu, 6 other aspirants return nomination forms, and another rider, court vacates order stopping ruling party's convention. And then, well, the story making the rounds now: Why I Slapped Obiano's Wife by Bianca Ojukwu. More knocks trail altercation at Anambra Governor's Inauguration Day. As a story on the front page of the Nation newspaper. EFCC detectives quiz Obiano. He can't catch a break these days. Over 42 billion naira spending. That is also another story on the Nation. Bamishe's murder. Family wants independent pathology autopsy. That is a story you can find on page 2 of the Nation. And on a sad note, mystery midnight fire wipes out family of 7. Well, for details of that story, pick up the Nation newspaper this Saturday.
All right, with that, we'll move on to the Punch newspaper. And we have the lead story still on Electoral Act. Malami Amechi Ngige may contest primaries while in office. And writers that says FG hails court for amending Electoral Act, vows to gazette judgment. Court judgment based on faulty grounds, sans knock George. And then below that, we have ASU kicks as National Assembly pushes for establishment of 186 varsities. Wow. We also have troubles for the Obianos. Ex-Anambra governor spends first weekend after office in EFCC cell. Wife given 7-day ultimatum to appease Igbo for assaulting Bianca. And Obiano speechless, watched while wife assaulted me, says Mrs. Ojukwu. And then we also have below that, many were surprised I made first class despite recurring sickle cell crisis, Unilag graduate Sani. And then Bamishe, family rejects planned autopsy, police suspends exercise. And right on the footnote there, we have Nigeria's debt set to peak at 45 trillion naira in 2022, says DMO report. If you come to the top there, we have a story that says factions vow not to withdraw cases. Court vacates order stopping APC convention. Buni meets Akpanu Dadehe. It dispels rumor of secretary's removal. Party screens Almakura, Yari Adamu, others today, aspirant dump consensus, and a lot more stories, especially the one beside the nameplate here that says Buhari returns to Abuja after a UK medical checkup.
Next, we take a look at the Guardian newspaper. The major headline on the front page says Anambra awaits Soludo's solution. That is on page 2, the details there on the Guardian. When we go to the top of the front page, Dakore Akande, I will never bleach my skin. Okay, that is a celebrity story. And on in the Guardian, Azu Arinze at 50, God has done nearly everything for me. And of course, another one, toast to women of Guinness. When we come down, we'll go into politics. It says APC gets court's nod to hold national convention. Chieftains react. And another story here that says UTME registration ends March 26. JAMB insists. And another one here which says Professors Without Borders trains Unilag students lecturers. That story can be found on page 5. And when talking sports, lights up in Akoka as 2022 Nuga Games begin. at the bottom of the page there, still talking politics. Electoral Act 2022, Buhari wins as court voids Section 82, subsection 12. That story can be found on page 2. So for details of that and other stories, these are the stories on the front page of the Guardian newspaper.
All right, with that, we'll take a quick breather. And when we come back, we will, discuss some of the stories from the papers. Do stay. All right, welcome back. You're still watching Daybreak Extra on Trust TV, and we will start by, dissecting some of the stories on Daily Trust Saturday. We're going to start by the investigative piece here on how Just University Teaching Hospital denies House of Fulani treatment for claiming Plateau State. And we have writers here that says record officers compel new patients to change state of origin in order to register and be able to see doctors. So, a hospital and Plateau State government have actually debunked the claim as well.
Well, should that really matter where you come from, or whether you're indigent or resident? I mean, when it comes to health issues, really, I really hope that this is not true. Yes, that is just a prayer. I just hope this is not true. But if it is, really, it is really disheartening when you can deny somebody having access to health facilities because of who he is or where he comes from. I think it's really sad.
The Nigerian health sector is, on the brink of collapse as it
Yes,
is, you
but
know. And then, you know, even as a Nigerian, you know, you go to the hospital, especially when you have stab wounds or gunshot wounds, and then
yeah.
they
Or
ask
even
you
accident
for
victims
exactly
sometimes, yes.
accidents as well, and then
Yeah.
they ask you for a police report before
Or
you're
you even
even
bring the police themselves, you understand?
exactly
Yeah, I
before
understand.
you know you're even treated, and most of the patients, you know, die, you know, in the process and all that. But we actually have patients who shared their experiences, and one, Haji Arabi Hassan, narrated how she was forced to change her state of origin during the registration process. You know, she said there was a time she was having a problem with one of her legs, and she went to the hospital and was given a form to fill, and you know, she indicated that she was from Jos, but she was compelled to change her state of origin and local government area. She asked those attending to patients to change them for her, and she told them to write any state or local government area because her health was more important to her, and she didn't even care where she, you know, where they wrote for her. So you also have a lot more people: Aisha Ibrahim, Aisha Sani, you know, Abdul Majid Lawan, you know, all residents who have actually found it difficult, you know, to access services of the Just University Teaching Hospital here.
It is very sad, really, because just like you said, the health sector in Nigeria is really not something that we can be proud about. But I didn't think it was this bad.
But we also have the hospital debunking the allegations, okay? The Information Protocol and Public Relations Officer, Mrs. Bridget Omini, said the content of the video didn't represent the policy of the hospital. Do you get? And in a release sent to Daily Trust, she said the attention, you know, she just wrote a whole lot of stuff. And she said she worked with Juth before she became commissioner, and never, that's the Plateau State Commissioner for Health, saying that never did she know anything of that nature, and she's not aware of anything like that.
Yeah, well, she might not be aware of it. That doesn't mean that it's not happening. But we just hope that it's just a misunderstanding or something like that, and that can be cleared up. But really, if that is the situation, then it's truly, truly sad.
Okay, now we have a quote unquote on page 2 here that from Godfrey Reggio, and he says, "I think it is naive to pray for world peace if we're not going to change the form in which we live." Makes sense?
Yeah, it does. It really does. I mean, like, we the people that are actually living in the world, we are the ones who are responsible for the peace in it.
Prayer doesn't cut it.
Exactly.
You need to make conscious efforts
to actually change these things. So definitely, you just can't say, all right, I wish for world peace, and then you'll fold your arms and wait for it to happen. So you have to make an effort. So that's just what it's saying.
All right, now there's a food for thought also by Hafsat Abiola that says peace comes from being able to contribute the best that we have and all that we are towards creating a world that supports everyone. You know, still relating it to the Juth incident, but it is also securing the space for others to contribute the best that they have and all that they are as well. And then moving on to a story of Fatima, a 14-year-old Kano female Tyler. I've never seen a female Tyler before. I've never heard of one. But we have a 14-year-old. Her name is Fatima Sekibu Abubakar, and she's a resident of Jain Quarters in Kumbotso local government area, and she works as a Tyler, you know, in Kano. You know, this particular profession is male-dominated, known to be male-dominated.
Seriously male-dominated.
Yeah.
Just like you said, I have never heard of a female Tyler before, talk less of seeing one. So it's really inspirational when you get to see things like this. You know, we talked about breaking
barriers as well.
So that's the thing. So if we have women like this venturing into these kind of professions, I think it's really a good thing for the women folk.
And you know, you can actually see a picture of her, you know, working on broken tiles, and which is actually, it's actually more stressful than
than the regular ones. than the regular ones.
And she said she learned it from her dad. You know, it's actually easy because he passed his skill to his daughter and all that. You know, it's nice.
Yeah,
It's
actually,
nice.
but it's a good thing that that came up, because most of these things, you know, they start from the home. You know, if the father would have said, okay, she's not a male child, then why should I actually do this? A lot of people, you have people like that. They would rather bring somebody else from outside to train him on this particular thing. But
And they end up paying so much.
So he decided to teach his daughter, and I think it's a fantastic thing. It's really it should be a very good read.
And you know, she actually said that while she actually combines it with study, and she said she was asked if she graduates from school, what she would become, you know, and she said she wants to continue the work
Exactly.
as a Tyler, a female Tyler.
Exactly. It's a very good thing. It's a noble profession, at least, you know. So it's a good thing.
All right, still talking health. The cover story on page 6 talks about Nigerian paying through the nose as health insurance actually wobbles. And, you know, we have writers that say some states battle to make scheme work. That's the NHIS scheme. 70% of citizens are not enrolled. We have program only on paper. That's attributed to some Kogi families. And good news from Kano and Lagos. So the agency said they could not register state workers or any other group till now, as the move was said to be stalled by the organized labor and paucity of funds. Talking about the insurance.
Yeah, health insurance. I think, well, maybe there are actually cases of people not being able to access that, or people not being able to be enrolled, you know, when it comes to health insurance. And it's relatively a new thing right here. So I think that's why we're actually having these problems, right, enrolling people and making sure that they get the health care they need. And of course, just what you read right now, I mean, like, funds is everything. If the funds are not there, then definitely there's going to be an issue. Hospitals will not be willing to give that service if they're not going to get paid for it. So that's the problem as well. So the funds need to be provided, and the infrastructure needs to be there as well. Because it's one thing for you to enroll people on health insurance and then pay the money for their health insurance to be get. And then you get to the hospital and you don't get the care because the facilities are not there, the drugs are not there, you don't have the personnel. So that's something entirely different.
And also, you know, what kind of diseases or illnesses does that
the insurance actually cover?
Well?
Yes, so that the coverage also is also something that we really need to look at, and that all, I think, it boils down to the funds. But still, I believe that even if the funds are available, if people are actually enrolled, but the facilities are not there, then I think it's just it's a lost cause.
Okay. Now, in Bayelsa State, apparently the scheme is actually mandatory for civil servants. And while Kogi is still struggling, many in Lagos are not utilizing the health insurance scheme. And, you know, a whole lot of, you know, things that actually come with this particular scheme.
Yeah, you know, one of the major problems is sometimes you go to these hospitals, you are insured, you go to the hospitals, but then they say what what ails you is not covered by your insurance. So you have to pay for it, you have to go out of pocket, or they actually put some particular drugs that are not covered by your insurance and you have to go and get them yourself. So I think that is one of the problems as well that that the insurance
I think that's one of the ways as well in which we can actually tackle our decaying health system. You know, now I know this. You've been waiting for this story.
Yes, it's been everywhere. It's been everywhere.
Okay, so talking about Obiano's wife and
Obiano can't catch a break. You know, he really can't catch a break. You know, you have to feel for him in a way. You know, he just handed over as the governor. He got picked up by EFCC. His wife gets involved in a brawl. You know, he's all over the place, really.
Okay, now, according to the letter she sent, she said, Mr. Ojukwu said, and this, I think, is the reason why, you know, the Igbos are actually asking Mrs. Obiano to apologize, because she said this very act is considered a sacrilege to a titled matriarch, such as myself, in the Igbo culture.
Yeah, we actually read a story that the monarch actually said there will be consequences because there was some desecration involved, because it's really not an attack on an individual, it's probably an attack on the traditional institution itself, you know. So I think, well, the issues are actually there, and Obiano is really not having. He's not catching a break right now, really. So
he actually isn't.
Yes, and you know the thing is, everybody, the incident actually took the spotlight away
from the inauguration
the actual inauguration itself, because nobody can even remember what the new governor said in his inauguration speech. Everybody's talking about the incident.
A lot of people, you know, when they first heard, they thought Mrs. Ojukwu that received the slap.
Yes.
A lot of people were not happy, but
Exactly.
when the tables turned, I don't know, they're super excited for some reason.
So that's the thing. I mean, like,
and apparently, what from what Mrs. Ojukwu actually said, she said she was sitting because you could actually see her, hailing, cheering, and everything, and then she majestically walks. That's Miss Obiano majestically walked to her, and she was confronting her on why she came for the inauguration, and then she ignored her and she started insulting her, and Mr. Ojukwu said she was intoxicated because she could smell, the
whiskey
alcohol,
on her breath,
yes,
yeah.
on her breath and everything. She ignored her, and then she, tapped her on her shoulder, and she warned her not to do that twice. So, when she tried to remove her head tie, she got up and defended herself by slapping her, and they called it a dirty slap.
yeah,
by the way.
most likely she didn't give her a gift for
No, it's
for her
actually
handing
more than
over.
that.
So
it's actually more than that. There's been a lot of issues,
so
the
it was
APGA and everything.
It was a send-off. She decided to send her off with a slap because she probably didn't give her a gift. So I think that's one way to go.
Would you say it's a well-deserved slap?
Well, if what Ms. Ojukwu said is actually how it happened, I think yes, I think so. Because if you do not comport yourself and behave in a way that you're supposed to, just as a human being, not even as someone who is an outgoing first lady of a state. Just as a human being, if you don't comport yourself and behave in a way that's supposed to be, I mean, like, yes, we are from African families. We know how it goes. If you don't behave, you get the slippers.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so that's how it goes.
If you don't allow the lion sleep,
you understand. So that's what happens. So
Okay.
I think she got exactly what she deserved.
All right, now NSCDC and NYSC to prosecute graduates evading service. There are a whole lot of them evading service for one reason or the other. Some reasons being that they're actually working already, so they don't feel the need to actually go for the 1-year youth service and everything, and a whole other reasons.
Well, I remember back in the days when everybody was falling over himself to actually serve.
But these days, after ASU strike and you're over 30,
you're just tired. you're just tired.
You enter university at 16 and then
exactly.
you graduate at 30.
At 30 or 31, you
and
understand?
You can't even serve.
So you can imagine that. I think that's one of the reasons why you're just tired. You just want to get out. You want to go home and rest. So those are some of the things that actually happen.
All right, so we have a cartoon here, and it says, just two boys, swinging on a tree, and one of the boys says, even big women are now fighting at inaugurations, and the other boy says, didn't I tell you we have to take over from... You have to take over the world from the adults. So the adults are, misbehaving, and it's time for the young people.
So it's just like we do.
Not too young to run.
It's just like we discussed. I mean, like if you don't behave yourself, then definitely things are bound to happen.
Okay. All right. So I think with this, we'll take one more story and then go on a quick break before we come back. Let's see. We have a story of federal government to sanction depots, hiking petrol price, and a writer that says high diesel cost hampering fuel supply, says minister.
Well, so that's the problem now. You have the scarcity of petrol, you understand, and you need to deliver this petrol to other places using tankers and whatnot, which use diesel. Diesel is expensive. You can't get the diesel to actually fuel these tankers to take it where you need to get it. So it's a myriad of problems. So you really don't know where to even start. Do you tackle the diesel issue? Do you tackle the petrol issue? What do you do? And electricity being what it is again right now with the high cost of diesel, people trying to run generators, and you don't really know where to start with it. You really don't know where to start.
All right, let's take one more before we take that break. On Encounter, a day with Lagos amputee tricyclist. This is a man who decided against all odds, to still, go out there every day to get, whatever means by whatever means to actually be able to take care of himself and his family. And he's actually one-handed.
You
Like
understand?
the other hand has been amputated. And, you know, you actually have a lot of them begging at parks and other
Yes.
places. But this man, you know, I don't know.
It's inspiring
it's
when you get to see
inspiring.
when you get to see stories like this. You get to see people like this who are trying to rise above their disabilities to make something of themselves. I mean, like driving a tricycle with two hands is difficult as it is, but with one, it's really remarkable. It reminds me of a movie we used to watch back in the days called One Arm Boxer. You understand? So it's a very good thing. It's inspiring when you get to see stories
He said
like
even
this.
at that he was once a businessman. Like, you know, he was doing fine in palm oil business before it suddenly crashed in 2005 when a vehicle bringing his goods from the eastern part of the country was involved in an accident. And according to him, the vehicle somersaulted and all the 10 drums of palm oil it conveyed spilled to the ground. Everything was wasted. And when he didn't have any means to continue the business, he started riding a motorcycle and he got married as an Okada rider and began to raise children. And he went into tricycling, you know, in 2008. That accident is still a mystery to him, but he thanks God for the gift of life, and he has a very supportive family.
Yeah, it is an inspiring.
important.
It's an inspiring story, and it's lovely to actually get to read stories like that. They actually inspire people to do better for themselves.
All right, we'll take that break now, and we'll be back in a bit. Just stay with us.
The idea was to give the interim government confidence that there is somebody, a military man, who is well known, who can be accepted.
You alluded to the case of your son, Umar Farouk. Are you in touch with him?
Yes, he phones us 2 times, sometimes 3 times in a month.
As always, when I'm talking about late Abiola, I still thank my God for directing me on things to do when he gave me that leadership of this country.
Many of you honest Fulanis, you allow this man to cast aspersion on you.
You know, Zamfara is the mother of all bandits.
The biggest problem, if you permit me, is the fact that we have not been able to get the totality of our citizenry.
It's very, very difficult to have a fixed mind like that this one you will hand over to this person because you think he will do better.
I don't see myself under no circumstance ever leaving APC for another political party.
Here on the Mambila Plateau. And this is where the hydroelectric power dam is supposed to be constructed.
Most people in Nigeria are ignorant of the fact that employing a child as a maid is in fact against the law.
Access to the textile mill has been very difficult.
I believe, or I think that if you want to make money, it should be in a place where there are not plenty of people that can do what you do.
From the way things are happening now, I don't think the two parties will make any impact.
I've been talking about the updates concerning the campaign of Nigerian Super Eagles in Abuja.
Bola Tinubu has informed President Muhammadu Buhari of his ambition to contest for the position of president.
To be self-reliant, a blind man defies all odds to become a carpenter in Gombe State.
The country is now experiencing a 4th wave of the COVID-19 pandemic with the emergence of the Omicron variant.
Talks are ongoing between NRC management and the
Back to Daybreak Extra on Trust TV this beautiful Saturday morning. Well, we're still taking a couple of stories from the papers, most of the Daily Trust, and we're looking at those stories and analyzing them as well right here in the studio. Dashan, what do you have for us?
All right, so we're moving on to entertainment right now, and we have a story of Two-Face Idibia constructing music studio for OAU.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's actually nice giving back to the community, you know, trying to inspire young artists as well. It's a good thing.
Yes, he commissioned the multi-million, Naira studio, and he built it for the music department of OAU in Ile-Ife. It's a good one, by the way. So, encouraging them to start from school.
Exactly, you know, the thing is, most of these artists, we know we have the talent, you know, they have the talent and everything, but they don't have the resources to actually harness those talents. And some people don't even know they have the talents until they get the platform to actually do that. So I think things like this are very, very important, and it's nice to see some of these celebrities giving back to the society, trying to encourage young artists to toe that line. It's actually a good one for Two-Face.
Now, remember how last year Davido, raised 200 million naira in less than 73 hours after he posted his account details?
Yeah, everybody
and
wanted to be his friend.
Yes, and the entire donation actually went to 292 orphanages. Did he come to any orphanage in Abuja?
I have absolutely no idea.
I
have absolutely no idea.
Okay, well, I actually saw this on Twitter, and he said he'd be giving 1 million naira each to 20 Nigerians. That's 200. He has 20 million naira, and he'll be giving 1 million naira to each Nigerian, that can send him a good business plan. A good business plan. I don't know how many have actually, received the amount yet. I have not followed through on, how it's going.
He probably receives tens of thousands of these business plans and whatnot. I mean, so it's a good thing. I'm looking at that. If it's a very good criterion to give somebody money. I mean, like, you're not just giving money away for somebody to go and chill with the big boys. At least give him an opportunity if it actually makes sense to do that. But it's not having the business plan on paper. It's actually following through with it.
Exactly.
I can have a very good business plan right now. Send it to him. He'll send me my 1 million.
And then you chill.
And then I'll chill with the big boys.
Oh my goodness. All right, so Will Smith actually wins BAFTA for performing in King Richard.
Yes, there's a lot of Oscar buzz concerning his performance in King Richard. I mean, I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, but a lot of people actually said he gave a very good performance.
I trust him. I believe in his talent.
You know, so they said, even though there was a little bit of blowback between him and the Williams and whatnot, but still, his performance, they said, was actually fantastic. But I haven't seen it yet.
He's actually one person I know that switched careers and is doing really, really good.
Yes.
You know, him and The Rock and who else? Jamie Foxx.
And John Cena as well.
John Cena, yeah. Jamie Foxx as well, you know.
Now, a lot of people actually forget the fact that Will Smith was a rapper.
A musician.
You understand?
Before,
you know, they forgot that he was actually the Fresh Prince back in the days because of all the...
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah, because of the riveting performances he's actually given as an actor. So it's very good when you find multi-talented people like that doing those things. So I really look forward to seeing King Richard and looking at the performance that he actually gave that won him the BAFTA.
Okay, I think these are all the stories we can actually take, okay, there's one more on Saturday Tribune about an actor, Jude Chukwuka, who says having a baby at 56 can be very draining. Some people actually start really, really late. Some start very, very early.
Doing a lot of things at 56 can be draining. Not just having a baby. I actually believe doing a lot of things at 56 can actually be draining, and having a baby as well. I mean,
imagine you're not being able to sleep.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you have it at a younger age, when you are actually in your prime, you're saying that you're actually young and you have the energy.
Okay,
and
when you have it young,
yeah,
it's like you've trained for it. So even when the grandchild comes at 56, you're used to it and you know how to handle it. But you've never.
Exactly. But it depends. It all depends on it. There could be a lag between the time you have your own child and when the grandchild comes in. It's really crazy. And besides, having a grand is different from having your own child at age of 56 because you have to be with that child 2/4/7. So you can
and then
imagine.
if you have high blood pressure, imagine sleeping and then
exactly
cry wakes you up.
Wake you up, and you're 56. You're no spring chicken at that time, really, seriously. So a lot of things are really difficult, not just having a baby. So for somebody to take up that Herculean task at that age, I really think he deserves to be commended. Yes, some commendation needs to go there,
Okay. I think with that, we've come to the end of the newspaper review today. Thank you so much for tuning in. When we come back, it'll be time for our first discussion. And like we said earlier, we'll be talking politics. Okay, we've talked a lot about APC, but we're talking about PDP today. So, when we come back, you'll have a feel of what we have to say. Do stay tuned.
This is Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
right, welcome back. Now, we're discussing party politics, like I said earlier, and, you know, talking about what's been happening. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has actually warned members of the Board of Trustees of the opposition People's Democratic Party that the party might not survive another 8 years as an opposition party. Now, Atiku, who spoke when he hosted the BOT members during a consultative meeting in Abuja early in the week before picking his form, asked the elders of the party to work with him to clinch the presidency in 2023, or, like he said in quotes, we all retire together, because according to, you know, news making rounds, he said that they cannot survive another term as an opposition party. Once they lose this particular, you know, elections, then there's no going back for them. So right here in the studio, we have the People's Democratic Party Publicity Secretary in Ogun State, Asiwaju Bankole Akinloye, and he joins us in the studio. Good morning and welcome to Daybreak Extra.
Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning. Good to see you.
Yes, good to see you
Thanks
too.
for having me today.
All right. So what do you make of the statement coming from Atiku?
Yeah, I think His Excellency, the former Vice President of Nigeria, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, has once again expressed the very important need for us as a party to get back to government. Because if we don't, for whatever reason this time around, if we don't, like he said, a lot of people of his generation will be forced to retirement. And maybe that would also give people of our own generation too an opportunity.
Yeah, because that was the question I was about to
people of our own generation too come in to rise up again. But it's important to say that for PDP, this coming election is very, very important. Why? We all know where Nigeria was as at the time we left government in 2015. And we know where we are today as a country. Nigeria has never been this divided. As at 2015, for example, I live in Idiroko, a border community that borders Nigeria and Benin Republic. Idiroko is Ogun State.
Yeah.
As at 2015, if you go to the market to buy a bag of rice, for example, rice is the most stable food that we consume every household on daily basis in Nigeria. If you take 8,000 naira to the market to buy a bag of rice, 50 kg, I am very sure you'll be given a certain amount as change. Maybe some 200 naira, 300 naira, thereabout. Today, as we speak, a bag of rice from Idiroko is sold for 35,000 naira. Wow. That is to show Nigerians how terrible the economy has become under the watch of the ruling APC.
But
it's really sad. Apart from the prices of food, commodities that has skyrocketed, the international perception of Nigeria as a member of international community was intact. Nigeria was a well-respected voice in international system as of 2015. The international perception of the country today has dropped significantly, and it's really sad. Look at the state of security. Look at our public infrastructures, and to now crown it up, the details of Nigerian debts, both foreign and domestic. A few days ago, the office of a DMO, Debt Management Office, released that scary, very bogus figures as what Nigeria is currently owing. Yet we are still seeking more. We are still seeking to assess more loan. It's very dangerous. So for us, 2023 is important. Nigeria has to be liberated. We have to take it back by all means possible within the confines of the law. And that is why we have come out to educate, sensitize, and mobilize ourselves.
So there's this argument.
Yes,
there's
sir.
this argument that a party doesn't run a government. I mean, like when you say, okay, PDP, PDP is not a person. People actually do that.
Yes.
And there's this argument that actually people say that a lot of people that are members of the APC today, that are ruling, were members of the PDP before. Back in that time that you said we could buy a bag of rice for less than 8,000 naira. They are the ones that were there, and they cross-carpeted to the APC, and they're running it now, and this is what is happening. So how sure are we?
The difference is simple. There is a party program. And don't forget, it is the party that will sponsor an individual for a particular office for an election. It is the party that will sponsor a candidate. It's the party that submits the name of his candidate to INEC. So you cannot. There is always a very great input from the party as to what happens in government.
Does it override the wishes or the principles of the individual himself?
It may not override, but where you practice proper party politics, the government must also be in constant touch, in constant engagement with the party, where they cross-check notes and cross-fertilize ideas as to what will happen in governance. Because at the end of the day, if the government fails, it bounces back to the political party.
Okay, now, is it actually any different? Because even when the PDP were in power, a lot of Nigerians complained a lot, even though it wasn't, as bad as it is now, but there were lots of complaints that, you guys, were not doing the right
Of course,
thing,
we were not
leading
perfect.
right as well.
But as at the time we left the government in 2015, at the national level, we were not perfect. I must say that, because we are all human beings. We all have our shortcomings here and there as human beings, as normal human beings. But the fact is that the realities then, compared to what we have now, it's everywhere. It is everywhere. As at 2015, when Nigeria was leaving government under ex-President Goodluck Jonathan, Nigeria was rated at the time as the fastest growing economy in the world.
Okay.
Look at what we have now. Nigeria has become the global capital of poverty, and that clears it all.
Okay.
That says it all.
Now, you talked about the party being responsible to actually bring out the candidates and everything.
Yeah.
Now, is the party in support of Atiku's presidency?
His Excellency Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, foremost, is a member of the party. Is a Nigerian that is eligible to contest.
But there's
just like several others of them. I said Alhaji Atiku Abubakar is not the only person in the race for 2023.
Yeah.
As I'm seated here, I can remember very vividly, like 5 or 6.
Okay, but are they
That
in support?
would be the party in support of
Atiku, vying for presidency, because there's been a lot of controversy about him buying a
the
form.
party. Yes, he can pick a form. He just picked the form. I am sure by Monday, many other people too will still pick.
But
forms.
a lot of people are saying that he actually jumped the gun, because there's supposed to be a meeting, a NEC meeting, I think, they're supposed to come up with the zoning formula and whatnot. So a lot of people are saying that he jumped the gun.
As at the last convention of the party in December last year, the party came out straight. We were zoning the national chairmanship to the North Central, where we elected national chairman, Dr. Yosha Ayu from Benue State. And the party said it clearly. For presidency, it's an open race. Whoever wants to come, if you like, come from Lagos, come from Abia State, come from any part of the country. And that is why we have today people like the former Senate President, Yosha Ayim Pius Ayim, is also vying to be president.
Okay, but what does that
We
say?
have, in fact, we have two. Yes, we have two from the southwest.
Okay.
That have been going out to that they've been making consultations. We have Dr. Odun Yokukwe, the former spokesperson to the former president Olusegun Obasanjo, is in the race from Ogun State. We have the veteran journalist Dele Momodu from Osun State. He's been consulting. So the party is not narrowing the presidential ticket down to anybody or any section of the country.
So they're not following the zoning formula?
It is opened. We are not, the party is not officially announcing any zoning for this.
So anyone can,
anybody is free.
Anybody is free.
What is important, the party would ensure is that this person has what it takes. He has the capacity, he has the competence, the character of being a president that can rescue Nigeria from what we have today.
So let's go back to what we opened with, the particular statement that His Excellency Atiku Abubakar actually made about PDP. This is the last chance for PDP to actually take it, or for some members of the PDP to actually take it. And I actually asked this question: is it really a bad thing if most of the old guard actually go home and relax?
Yes, on the surface, or let me say, on the basis of morality, we can kind of want to suggest that the old guys, like you described them, should take a step backward and, give people, perhaps of my generation, the opportunity
of our generation.
Yes, of our generation. Of our generation to take the lead in presiding over the affairs of the country. Yeah, it's not totally bad.
Yes.
But one thing that is important is that if you look at the constitution of Nigeria, except if you are bad, perhaps for criminal offenses, or you have maybe you are ineligible, then the party can stop it. We cannot stop anybody from, even if you are 100 years old, if you are still living and you are still a member of the party, we cannot stop you from, exercising your right of...
So generally now,
yeah,
we're still talking about this. We're still talking about having generational change in the political sphere and whatnot. Generally now, let me ask you: is it a bad thing now if a party says, okay, part of our philosophy is we're going to have a program, or should I say a policy that will make it, when you reach a certain level or you reach a certain age.
Yes,
right. When you reach a certain age, you become sort of like a mentor so that you can bring other people up. You take a back seat. You
see,
understand? Is it such a bad thing if political parties actually have these kind of policies?
You see, in a democracy is a system of government that also grows with time, just like a plant. When you plant a tree, it needs water, it needs oxygen, it needs to grow. I want to tell you too that democracy is just like that too. And good enough, our party, the People's Democratic Party, especially under the leadership of our chairman, Dr. Iyoshi Ayu, has done so well. We have started so well. One, by defining what we mean by youth. If you look at it today, you have seen a national youth leader. A national youth leader, I'm sure it's not up to 30 years. Are you getting it? We have, as a party, we have clearly defined who a youth is. And we have benchmarked that as, okay, as a party, our national youth leader, either at national level or state level, cannot go beyond this particular age. Democracy is evolving. What I would just say is that people of our generation, like you said, we should get involved. We should get more involved in politics. I won't sit down here and say we must join PDP. No, that won't be fair. Let us join a political party and get involved in the system. If you are outside the system, I tell you, you cannot do much significantly to change anything.
But a lot of people actually believe, since that old guard is still there, even if I join the political party now, what kind of voice will I have?
The old guys will always be there, perhaps to give guidance, perhaps to give direction,
But is that
and
what we need
advice.
as youths? Or what about a third force?
A third force is not impossible. I will tell you quite a number of times in different places, in different states, they have tried it. In my own Ogun State, as at 2019, the last general election, there was a third force, Allied People's APM, Allied People's Movement. Are you getting it? There was an APM. In fact, APM came second. APC won the governorship. APM came second. And for internal wranglings in the party, then PDP came distant third.
So talking about the internal wranglings, right? What makes you guys different from the APC? Because there's so much controversy.
I love this question. I love this question. You see, in party politics, there are rooms for disagreements. There could be disagreements. There could be maybe crisis. But what is important is how do we resolve? If you look at it, since Fourth Republic, 1999, at the birth of this, when President Obasanjo was coming on board, we had three major parties: People's Democratic Party, the AD, and the defunct APP. Three. Since then, 1999, up to now, it is only PDP that has retained its full identity in terms of names, color, logo, flag, and symbol.
But not the people.
Not
the people that are inside the PDP.
Because
a lot of
what I'm saying is that the party as a political organization has consistently retained its identity. And it does not mean we don't have disagreements. It does not mean we don't have internal wranglings. But PDP is a democratic, well-structured political organization. Look at the role that our Board of Trustees play. Even at the last National Convention, they know the appropriate time to call everybody to simmer down and sort things out. Unlike what we have in other political
So
parties.
generally speaking now, to add to just what she said, looking at the political terrain in Nigeria as it is right now, do you think, generally now, I'm talking to you as a Nigerian.
As a Nigerian?
Yes,
okay.
as a Nigerian, not as a PDP
as a PDP
yes.
Thank you.
As a Nigerian now, do you think a third force is what we need? Do you think that can
I cannot, as a Nigerian, I cannot rule it out. Yeah. It's not impossible because if you check contemporary history, it happened somewhere it happened in Ondo State with a Labour Party when His Excellency, the former governor, Olusegun Mimiko, emerged as governor under Labour Party. Labour Party, either you like it or not, is not a major political party in Nigeria. I get in it. So on the basis of that historical fact, I cannot rule it out that a third force is not impossible. No. But I want to also say this. If you look at even the older democracies, talk of United States of America, talk of Britain, and many other countries. They are all, just like Nigeria, multi-democracies, multi-party democracies. Are you getting it? But at the end of the day, you still see two dominant parties running the affairs of the country. So, for me, what happened in Ondo when Olusegun Mimiko became the governor under Labour Party was what I would call a fluke. Because it was unexpected.
But you have parties like APGA, which are doing very well, most especially in the southeast.
In the east, in Anambra State particularly.
Exactly.
Yeah, I hope they can go a step forward outside Anambra State in the coming periods. Let's see that. But majorly what I'm trying to say as a Nigerian, just like I've insisted.
Yes, as a Nigerian.
Just like I've insisted, is like there would always be a dominance of two major parties in any multi-party democracies.
Okay, so before we wrap up, let's talk about your own your party in your state. Are you ready to take over?
Yes, PDP in Ogun State, we are, I will tell you we are ready. I will tell you confidently that we are ready. In fact, between now and the next 2-3 weeks, a lot of pleasant surprises will be happening in our party. We hope to take to have a bountiful harvest of eminent people, those that have been in the party perhaps earlier, that they left for whatever reason, they are returning back. Many of them are returning back. Between now and the next 2-3 weeks, we'll see it by God's grace. We are doing everything possible. We had issues, like I told you earlier. We had internal wranglings. But as at March last year, through the intervention and the efforts of the National Working Committee, as they raised a reconciliation committee that was headed by His Excellency, the former Senate President, Dr. Lushola Saraki. He did very well for us in the party in Ogun State. He was able, at least, to, let me say, 70-75% to bring back, warring groups together. And that is why, that is what we have today in PDP, especially under the leadership of the state chairman, Alhaji Dr. Sikirola Ogundele. The party is working in one harmony under his chairmanship, and we are reaching out to as many people, even those that joined the party, that left the party maybe as early as 2003. So we are trying to make sure we bring everybody back to be, because either we like it or not, Nigerians and members of the public in Ogun State, they have tasted two husbands' house, so they know which one is better. So,
all right. So
people in Ogun State cannot wait to have PDP back in government, and we are doing everything possible, I assure you, to get back to government.
So a final note now to wrap this all up. I am trying to stay away from party politics. Right. So as a Nigerian.
As a Nigerian again.
As a Nigerian.
I love that. It's good.
Yeah.
Nigeria is more important.
Yes, exactly.
To us.
Yes. So as a young Nigerian politician, what advice would you give us? People like you and me.
People of our generation.
Exactly, people of our generation. Most especially those of us that are not really involved in active politics.
You see,
and we want to see things change.
You see, politics shapes a lot of things that we do. It shapes what we eat, whatever decision we make. In that wise, given our level of exposure in terms of education, in terms of other things, it is very, very imperative for all of us to get involved in politics. We must get involved in politics. Otherwise, people of less character that are not even up to us in anything. If you leave, Yorubas will say, "Toba fashion left from were, Uma fire." If you leave your beautiful attire in the hands of a madman, he would tear it. So we must not leave our faith as people of the same generation to those that they don't have the same level of competence, the same level of IQ, character, and capacity that we have.
All right, so in as much as we want to encourage youth to actually join politics, we should encourage them to join it in the right way, because a lot of youth right now are involved in the politics, but in the wrong way. Most of us are actually used for thuggery and the rest of it. You understand? So I think it's very good for us to actually qualify that so that we can.
That's important too.
Yes. All right.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us on Daybreak Extra today. That was PDP Publicity Secretary in Ogun State, Asiwaju Bankole Akinloye, right here.
I must confess, before we actually started this discussion, I didn't think I was going to enjoy it as much as I did.
It was quite interesting.
Yeah.
All right, hope to have you here, some other time.
Thank you so much. Anytime I'm in Abuja, I'll reach out so we can have.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you. All right, with that, we'll take a quick breather, and when we come back, it'll be time for, something lighter.
Yeah, something lighter.
All right, do stay tuned.
idea was to give the interim government confidence that there is somebody, a military man, who is well known, who can be accepted.
You alluded to the case of your son, Umar Farouk. Are you in touch with him?
Yes, yes. He phones us 2 times, sometimes 3 times in a month.
As always, when I'm talking about late Abiola, I still thank my God for directing me on things to do when he gave me that leadership of this country.
Many of you honest Fulanis, you allow this man to cast aspersion on you.
You know, Zamfara is the mother of all bandits.
The biggest problem, if you permit me, is the fact that we have not been able to get the totality of our citizenry.
It's very, very difficult to have a fixed mind like that this one you will hand over to this person because you think he will do better.
I don't see myself under no circumstance ever leaving APC for another political party.
Here on the Mambila Plateau. And this is where the hydroelectric power dam is supposed to be constructed.
Most people in Nigeria are ignorant of the fact that employing a child as a maid is in fact against the law.
Access to the textile mill has been very difficult.
I believe or I think that if you want to make money, it should be in a place where there are not plenty of people that can do what you do.
From the way things are happening now, I don't think the 2 parties will make any impact.
I've been talking about the updates concerning the campaign of Nigerian Super Eagles in Abuja.
Bola Tinubu has informed President Muhammadu Buhari of his ambition to contest for the position of president.
To be self-reliant, a blind man defies all odds to become a carpenter in Gombe State.
The country is now experiencing a fourth.
My landlord now, he don't carry case go police station. Some of the tenants on a weekend, if no more pay last rent, don't say no one pay. My landlord and one of the tenants, they dey police station now. The landlord dog go give the tenant dog belle. Now the tenant say no go pay us, they say they bill on now. The landlord say for what? You must pay. Even the landlord, the tenant now they drag for bride price. Say, he never ask the landlord, say the dog, rape the dog.
If you get village, your situation won't have been like this.
During politics, my village now, our women leader and man. When I just Abuja, worry where I come from, would they suffer now? Imagine Abuja, wish go call press you go shout Holy Ghost fire, the wish go fly go back. Call Bini, which they carry fire extinguisher. So they would call fire service. They won't go press person. Bini which call press like this, as a shout Holy Ghost fire. Go hear the old woman. Osas, pour water. We press until they die today. Daddy, this joke when I want to talk, this joke not concern you. Daddy, you don't eat sacrifice before? Daddy, you miss sacrifice is sweet. Those days for worry. Oh, Jesus. Those days for worry. If you see sacrifice, to eat sacrifice, go don't hungry you. All those, you run about now, those T junction. Today you go see goat, yam, onions, red oil. You go know say the juju want eat pepper soup or you want eat porridge. I travel this Christmas. That they are surprised I see sacrifice shock. Sacrifice, I see slim tea. That means the gods are washing their weight. Nobody should deceive you. This is 2020. I know say some of una don't forget on a New Year resolution.
All right, welcome back. Well, you've actually heard, you've seen that, quite funny. We have this same person in the studio talking about funny Bruno. Yes, he's a comedian and he is right here in the studio with us. So good morning and welcome to Daybreak Extra.
Good morning.
We've actually been laughing since, really, really funny stuff right there. And, you don't actually need anyone to tell us that you're from Edo State. Because most of your jokes, your comedy actually centers around,
yes.
that particular state. So why is that? Let's start with that first.
Okay. Our lifestyle there is different from other states, the way we do our things. Actually, I'm mixed. My mom is from Edo, my dad is from Delta.
Okay.
So I'll be full.
Na bente boy you
understand. So why most of my jokes around, I say most of my jokes about Edo is my area. I know how we do our things there. So sometimes we know we are one Nigeria, but the way we do things different state is different from probably the way we do things in Benin is different from Lagos. Sometimes we hear some comedians talking, only this Lagos, this Lagos. Some of them, they promote their states. So we from the south side, sometimes we talk about our state. That's why most of the time when you hear us talk, we say, "Na joke." So I will take it personal. There's one of my joke I did about Oshomole. So after some time, one of the PA called me, say, "Hey," I said, "That's not an insult, man. It's a joke." He said, "Oh God, they laugh since because some people didn't find it funny." I said, "Nah, joke. Don't take it personal." You get what my joke when I say for Benin, even though you miss flight, you can still fly. So that is my state. I love talking about my state, not just my state. Like as I'm planning for my UK tour now, so Beneath Bar call me. If you come here, you must do that your wish, Joko. I say no problem, I will do it. So it's my state, and I love talking about my state. And apart from that, I'm a creative comedian. I don't just talk about my state alone. I talk about things happening in Nigeria. That's why this day when you attend our comedy shows, you hear a lot of comedians talking about what's happening, the politicians. In fact, our major focus now, most of our jokes are focused on politics now. What's happening in Nigeria, the reality. That's where most of our jokes are focused on that. We have gone past that era where comedians will come on stage. You get one man, you get one woman.
I was actually going to ask that. Like, do you script most of your comedy, or does it come to you when you're on stage?
Write some come naturally. Some there's what we call spontaneity. You have to be spontaneous. What you see around, probably when you're inside the venue, inside the hall, you see some kind of stuff, some things happening. You can just make jokes with them. Or you're on stage, you see, when you're on stage, you see far, and people are watching you. So just play around, things are happening outside the hall. But most time we write some of them. Like just come, sometimes I might just be walking on the road, I will just see something funny. I quickly write it on my jotter on my phone. So that I won't forget, because as breeze blow comes, so if you don't write it down, I'll say go come out, so you won't get it. That's most time. I used to go to all this bar, football center. That is where you hear people talk a lot. Someone will be talking something serious. They won't know it's a joke. But as a comedian, if I thought that the same thing go shock is even the person go say, this is when I talk, now this guy they talk like this. So that's what got some of our girls. Like sometimes we watch the news, we read books, like if I open my phone now, I check Daily Trust. This one has happened. We are borrowing $2 billion again. I can just make a joke with it. Yeah, I also borrow. They borrow every day. We don't borrow for this country now. We not wake on what do. Yesterday, don't use Nigeria. Do collateral. Give another country. Just things. Things are happening in NPC. The one that's happening in Aso Rock. President don't travel. Okay, we are waiting for him to return. Just things are happening now. But most time, when jokes comes like that, if you don't write them down, you forget about it. They don't come again. So sometimes some come naturally, some you have to crack your brains. There's sometimes most of the time, how I get my jokes is when I'm inside the restroom, when I'm having my bath. So when some of my friends came to me, I said, "Guy, now only way they bath. Why are you talking to yourself?" I said, "Guy, don't go understand the reals." You understand? So that's how the things are. But some people, sometimes when you read books, you see a lot of things from the way you read the newspaper, you find a lot of things that you can do jokes with. So that's how it works.
So right now, you just you just dispelled a myth that a lot of people have about some comedians. They actually believe you go into comedy because you couldn't cut it in other spheres. You're not smart enough. You are not academically sound. So right now, with just what you've said right now, you need to be smart to be a comedian.
Yeah, you need to be very smart. You need to be educated. It's not just being funny. It's more than being funny. You understand? That's why today you have a lot of comedians. They have their own company. They have a lot of things doing aside comedy. You understand? They have business. You see a lot of them have gone into music production, movie production. They're into a lot of things that will give them extra money. If you are not smart, you can't do all that. If you are not educated, you're not smart, you can't just focus on comedy. You understand? Comedy is not something that, especially in Africa, you can't compare a comedian in the States, in the USA, than comedian in Nigeria. Average comedians, we see what happened in the lockdown when there was no shows. That's when some people know our YouTube used to pay, Facebook used to pay. So a lot of us went online, started doing comedy skit, using our phones, going online, and making money. Monetize your Facebook, monetize your YouTube. At the end of the day, you make some money for yourself. But if you're not smart enough, you wouldn't know what's happening. Most comedians are graduates. It's not about, some people believe, comedians are nuisance, they are tout, they are this, they talking here. That's a big lie.
Okay. So how
the issue that is not what you studied in school. That's what you used to work. We know Nigeria now. You understand? I studied mass communication.
Oh.
So
you would have easily been, with us here in the studio, as an
I do that a lot. I've been on radio for years, for TV for years, but I no one make any company staff me. Let me just speaking. I don't like being staff. Our work, I travel anytime. Like this April, now after my Nigeria show, I'm going for my UK tour. So if I'm a staff now, before the lead trust go say, we are giving you 2 weeks leave. The fee don't sack me before I come back.
All right. Now, how would you say the journey has actually been for you, from the beginning up until now?
It's been difficult, but it's just God. When we started going for audition, you go for different audition, comedy auditions and the rest. Sometimes they will discourage you. You don't have comedy in you, this or that. I remember one in 2011? I went for one, this is 2011, 2013. The one audition, it's in Nigeria Got Talent. K-Tenshaw then told me, you are funny, but you don't have body movement. I think you should quit comedy or something, do something, go into art. I said, if you want give me yes, give me yes. If you don't want give me yes, man, no say you don't give me yes. After some years, we met in AY Life in a cool hotel. I was on stage. AY brought me on stage. I was performing, and it was one of those tables. I said, K-Tenshaw, how far now? Do you see comedy in me now? So what I would say is is a decision. You don't have to give up. You have to keep pushing. People will discourage you. It gets that way will they start. You crowd you sometimes people don't go laugh now. You call guys will think Habia no funny. Like you feel like giving up, but you have to be hungry will beat you. If you don't have any other jobs or any other thing that like I'm a professional tailor too. Okay. Then I used to do my ties to cover up.
So you have other skills.
Yeah.
Quite interesting.
Even as I am now, I'm still studying. I just started studying cyber security also, so you have to diversify your economy because we all know what's happening now. One job is not enough. You understand? Like one of my sisters that was praying that, oh God, my children must be doctor. My 2 sons must be doctor. Correlation to him, 2 of them are doctor now, but they are native doctor.
She didn't specify the kind of doctor. All right, so let's go back to your comment. You just talked about going on a UK tour. So do you change your act from the one you give here in Nigeria? Because Oyinbo comedy is different.
Yes,
We all know
yes.
that. So,
Yes. You know, most time, if you watch comedy now, comedy have grown from the extent of just using pidgin English in all your jokes. You understand? So you have to mix it up. That's why from the audience, probably 85% of the audience, the Africans, Nigerians, Ghanaians. We've seen them a lot. We've traveled most time. Even the so-called whiskey in the video, if you check the audience very well, you see few whites. The rest are Africans or black. Probably most Nigerians, Ghanaians, Kenya, they understand some of our pidgin English, but at the same time, we have to mix it up with some good English so that everybody, we can carry everybody along. So that's the way thing works. Sometimes says go even tell say, "Oga, talk like Nigerian man." Which one you call this big phone for? You understand? I think the only place we find it difficult sometimes in the US, even in the US. Some of the guys that have done tours in the US, Washington, Dallas. If you watch the show, you see, but some of them will just some will just go through, some will just crack all their jokes
in
pidgin. But at the end of the day, you see some of them laughing, some will not understand. Some of them married to, even some of the ladies there, the whites they marry, some of them don't speak pidgin English. So probably, anyway, I'm not in about show. It's people that will come for it, that will come. You understand? Like you might have someone now, I will be doing Leicester, Manchester, London. So some people are already telling me in Leicester that where you come, this one, that one. Don't you do all those funnel, speak our normal English or our normal pidgin. I say, but not everybody will come there, they understand pidgin now. They say, bros, leave that thing. You know they miss the pidgin for you. But at the same time, you don't just focus on one particular audience.
So in essence, you have to actually know the audience that you appeal to.
Yes.
All right, we'll take a quick breather and we'll be back in a bit.
一双痴情的眼，望穿了这个秋天，看着那枫叶片片飘落，落在了我的身边。
If you plan something, say, I want to be this, God have another plan for you. People are committing suicide. Some people are saying things are hard. Things are hard for what? Look at me. This is somebody that studied microbiology at the university. Today I'm using microphone. Micro go inside. Micro na micro abi. I'm telling you. When I just Abuja here, worry where I come from. Would they suffer now? Imagine Abuja here, wish go call press you go shout Holy Ghost fire. The wish go fly go back. Call Bini. So Bini which carry fire extinguisher. So they call fire service. They won't go press person. Bini which call press you like this and so shout Holy Ghost fire. Go hear the old woman. Osas, pour water. We press until he die today.
So we're still on Daybreak Extra, and we have Funny Bruno right here in the studio talking about all things comedy. So before we went on that break, we talked about how we actually need to cater for different audiences. But as somebody who has been in comedy for a while now, because you have been in comedy for a while,
Yeah.
yes, and there are lots of upcoming and aspiring comedians as well. Looking at them now, what will you tell them?
some of them, I would say they should keep doing what they are doing. The world is expecting them. Like now, gone are those days when you have to go to Night of 1,000 Live or AY Live, Basketball this and the rest before you have a big platform to perform. Now, with just your phone and your data, you can reach the world. Just make a video. If you're funny, you're funny. If you're not funny, you're not funny. These days, not all videos are even funny. People are just doing it to get more views on YouTube and Facebook. You know, once you have some few funny videos, some the rest might not even be funny anymore. But people will subscribe because you've done something that they like already. They already become your fans. So what I would say to them, if you want to focus on skit, focus on skit. If you want to focus on stand-up, focus on stand-up. Like, I'm just going into skit now because, let me say, it's the trend now. I know I can act, I know I'm funny, I'm creative, that's what I'm going to need. But if you know you're not creating enough to go into the comedy skit industry, just focus on your stand-up comedy. That is why I see some of the skit maker, if you see them on stage, you say, I know this is not like that. Like my very good friend, Oga Sabinus, if you watch him on stage sometime, but this guy is very funny. Acting is different from stand-up. Stand-up now on the spot. You are not editing anything. It's what is coming from your mouth that will make people to laugh. So, as an upcoming comedian outside there, if you want to focus on the skit, focus on the skit. You want to focus on stand-up, focus on stand-up. But if you can still do the two, it's good for you. Because most of us, we are doing the two now. So, keep doing what you're doing. Don't wait for all those they beg people, bros, carry me along, bros, carry me along. Bro, use your data and your phone, your smartphone. Post anything where you do, post them online, you understand? But don't talk bad about people. Just do good comedy, good content that people will love. You must not insult people before you're funny. You understand?
All right, thank you so much, Funny Bruno, for gracing us with your presence on Daybreak Extra today. We hope to have you and see more of you, on TV and online, very, very soon.
Before I go, and people probably don't know, I have my comedy show coming up in Abuja at Sheraton Hotel. April 10th, about 22 days from now. It will be 22 days from. Is it up to 22 days?
It's not.
It's not.
Today is 20th. Today's
19th.
So I have about.
There's still a couple of days to go.
Okay. So April 10 here at the Sheraton Hotel. So please, Nigerians, come and support me. The tickets are very affordable. 5,000. I have 15,000. We have tables. I have table for 1,500,000, 300,000. So it depends on. Normally, say you supposed to buy table now.
The 5 million naira table, now you go buy.
See your belly now.
Where belly dey for here? You see belly for here?
You know, so for Abuja, once you just get belly, you be share man.
This one a cloth now.
For Abuja, once you
just big pass for your own.
For Abuja, once you just get belly, you be share man.
All right, thank you so much, Funny Bruno. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, it'll be time for sports before we round up.
The idea was to give the interim government confidence that there is somebody, a military man, who is well known, who can be accepted.
You alluded to the case of your son, Umar Farouk. Are you in touch with him?
Yes, he phones us 2 times, sometimes 3 times in a month.
As always, when I'm talking about late Abiola, I still thank my God for directing me on things to do when he gave me that leadership of this country.
Many of you honest Fulanis, you allow this man to cast aspersion on you.
You know, Zamfara is the mother of all bandits.
The biggest problem, if you permit me, is the fact that we have not been able to get the totality of our citizenry.
It's very, very difficult to have a fixed mind like that, that this one you will hand over to this person because you think you will do better.
I don't see myself under no circumstance ever leaving APC for another political party.
Here on the Mambila Plateau. And this is where the hydroelectric power dam is supposed to be constructed.
Most people in Nigeria are ignorant of the fact that employing a child as a maid is in fact against the law.
Access to the textile mill has been very difficult.
I believe, or I think that if you want to make money, it should be in a place where there are not plenty of people that can do what you do.
From the way things are happening now, I don't think the two parties will make any impact.
I've been talking about the updates concerning the campaign of Nigerian Super Eagles in Abuja.
Bola Tinubu has informed President Muhammadu Buhari of his ambition to contest for the position of president.
To be self-reliant, a blind man defies all odds to become a carpenter in Gombe State.
The country is now experiencing a fourth wave of the COVID-19 pandemic with the emergence of the Omicron variant.
Talks are ongoing between NRC management and the union.
Welcome back to Daybreak Extra on Trust TV. Well, we're going to take a little shift now and delve into the world of sports. And for that, we actually have Adeniyi Ajishafe right here in the studios.
Yes,
you're welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Nice to have you here.
It's good to be on Daybreak.
Yes, you were here before. Yeah, this used to be our show too.
At least I'm part. At least when the whole thing started, I was with you.
Yeah. Exactly. So welcome home.
Thank you.
All right. So Nugai Games kicking off today. I mean, like the opening ceremony, and so what are we expecting? Do we have how many universities, how many events?
Okay, just in a nutshell, the 26th edition of Nuga Game is coming up over there in Lagos, precisely at the University of Lagos. I love the fact that despite the ASU strike, the students out there can at least enjoy some sport.
Exactly.
But the most painful thing is also that, okay, they may not be able to have the chance maybe to be in school and also. But as it is, out of 78 universities that actually subscribed to that particular competition, I mentioned 26th edition. At least you can mention like 45 or 46 universities already in Lagos. So that means that city is already loaded with a lot of athletes.
Athletes, exactly.
And you have about 17 sporting events where they'll be competing. Football, popular bride. Like
exactly, Nigerian bride, yes.
Basketball, you have Scrabble, chess, hockey, all these sports that at least the student really likes to participate. Table tennis, handball, all these sports.
But what about sports that we are not really like swimming, for example?
But the fact is, swimming too. But the fact is, there are, because of facilities, you know, at times not all universities have all the facility for all these sports.
Yes.
Don't expect all to be in the same school. In fact, if not because UNILAG is one of the 4th-generation universities in Nigeria, where all those facilities, they have it. Because if you check Nigerian history, most of the old schools in Nigeria, even secondary schools, some secondary schools, they have more sport facilities than even some higher institutions. If you check those old secondary schools in Nigeria. So UNILAG being one of the foremost Nigerian universities, at least they have all these facilities.
Because
all they need to do is
we always talk about these things, most especially after Olympic Games or Commonwealth Games, we come back and we start shouting, why don't we do swimming, why don't we do cycling, gymnastics, why don't we do all these things? And we say we have to start from the grassroots, we have to start somewhere. I think is it not games like this that we should use to actually launch these things?
In fact, I want to commend the organizer and also for the fact that despite the strike, this particular competition has been given a nod to go ahead, because I imagine it has been on postponement since 2020. But now, finally, let it just come and at least let it pass. Let this athlete that have been training, you know, these Nuga games, Nipoga games, and all these.
I haven't heard Nipoga for a while.
Yeah.
Are they still doing it?
Yeah, of course, it's still existing. Nipoga game is still existing. Nigerian College of Education game is still existing. All of them, but just that, you know, the way we see sport in Nigeria, we really need to see sport as business, as a tool to enhance youthful, at least that togetherness. Then to discover so many talents, hidden talents, and also to reduce social vices. Because you see, at times when these youths out there, who are mostly students, are busy with sport, they are very happy. Extracurricular activities makes them okay. It will also help them to be better in their academics.
Exactly.
But when they're like, oh, like that English that say, all play without, all
work without play. Yeah, which is exactly.
I was actually going to ask, when the last time was, that Nuga actually happened, and you said 2020, and, I was going to answer Ibrahim, when you've been out of school for 20 years or over, you might not have an idea of what's happening, in your alma mater and everything. Now, you talked about vices, reduction of vices, thanks to the games and all that. But then, these games, when you have an influx of people coming from, almost everywhere in the country, to a particular place, isn't that when these vices would be on the increase? No. In fact, it's even, let's be candid. Okay, let me tell you this. Most of these athletes are coming from different universities now. ASU is on strike, but because of the fact that they have a template, they have a platform where they can compete, they are happy. Instead of sitting, okay, if they were to be home, they'll be thinking of at least being lazy. They can make them to be thinking, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, bad things. But now, they are in Lagos. They want to compete in handball or Scrabble or chess. All the attention will be on how can I win for my university? How can I make name? After all, Olofijano started like this, playing for Lautech. And before you know it, Crown FC of Ogbomoso picked him up. And the rest is history. We know what he has been able to achieve, and today is a pride to the nation because as we speak right now, we know what Olofijano has done for himself when it comes to football. Aside playing, the fact that clubs are beginning to see him and, okay, he can be our technical director, just like another Nigerian, Mike Emenalo.
Yes, he has
been
doing very well.
Because he started from Nuga games. So, just coming back to your question, a lot of athletes that are Nigerian students that are supposed to be at home thinking of, let me go and do this bad thing. But now they are in Lagos competing, and you never can tell how another star will be discovered in this competition.
So a lot of talents can actually be discovered from these games, and that is why we like to create more awareness. We like to create publicity around these things so that we can actually build them up to be what we want them to be, and start taking sports as business, as we always advocated. Adeni, it's been fantastic having you on the show. I really enjoy our back and forth. I really do. But it's actually nice for me to be the one asking the questions. Yes, because I'm always in the final line.
And I'm happy that at least I was able to give you what you want.
Exactly.
Maybe you want more.
Yeah, I'll watch 360 Sports.
Yeah, okay, no problem. Join me on 360.
All right, so for more sports, actually join Adeni in a few minutes on 360 Sports so that you can get the very best of everything. Well, this is where we're going to wrap up the show today. This beautiful Saturday morning has been a blast on Daybreak Extra. So why can't we do it all again next week?
Yes. As usual. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Dasha and Husseina Osman. Have a fantastic weekend.
And I'm Ibrahim Yusuf. Let's see you next week.